Hi there. Last night I made a Reddit post on how to install Ardour on Fedora Silverblue and make it work with Windows VSTs, but this also kinda works with every other system, so I wanted to put it on YouTube so it's more accessible to more people. So for this, we're essentially going to be running Ardour in a Ubuntu container rather than natively on a system or in a Flatpak, because Yabridge is going to work that way. I could have used Toolbox here in Fedora, but I would need the runtime or I would need to compile, and it's a big hassle, so just going to use Ubuntu here. So you're going to install DistroBox via your system package manager. For me, it's RPM O and OS3 install DistroBox. I already have it here, so if I put in DistroBox version, it's going to show that it works. Awesome. So we're going to create the container itself. So we're going to run DistroBox create -- image and then Ubuntu 22.04 name Ardour or whatever as a name you want. I'm going to put Ardour test here because I already have the container Ardour. Additionally, what you can use is the home flag so that it mounts on a partition or folder on your system and it acts as the de facto home folder. If you don't put this here, it's going to install everything under your normal user home folder. I don't want that myself. I want to try to separate it. So I'm going to create a directory under var hosts. I'm going to create a directory Ardour test. And I'm going to bind the home as there. So home var hosts Ardour test. And it created the Ubuntu container. Awesome. You're going to enter it and we're going to start modifying it a bit. You'll have to wait a couple of minutes here to install the basic packages. So I'm going to pause the video until that's done. We entered the Ubuntu container and everything's there. Great. Now we're going to install a couple of dependencies. So firstly, we're going to add 32-bit dependencies. Then we're going to add the repository for Vine staging. We're going to update the package manager. And we're going to run installations for set packets. Just as a notification, I am using Pipewire audio client libraries because Ardour, when you start it, doesn't want to connect to the Jack server. So with this, we can use PBJack, which will basically force Ardour to use Pipewire. And it's going to run then. So I'm just going to run this and I'll be back as soon as this is done. Awesome, everything is installed. So we're going to add only one more thing. It's called Yabridge. It's the Windows plugin host tool, which bridges Windows plugins with Linux DAWs. So I'm going to open up Firefox and I'm going to go to the link for the latest release of Yabridge. I'm going to download this version, so not the Ubuntu 18.04, just a normal version. I already have it downloaded here with me, so I'm going to go to downloads and get that. I'm going to go to var hosts somewhere and I'm going to paste it. I'm also going to get my Windows VSTs here. And awesome. So if I check my folder, you're going to see that I have Windows VSTs and Yabridge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the local share directory, and I'm going to untar the Yabridge files there. So tar zxvf Yabridge C, and then local share. I'm also going to create a directory called music, and I'm going to put my folder with my Windows VSTs under music. So move Windows VST onto music. Everything's there. Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the plugins to the Yabridge database, essentially. So that's local share Yabridge, Yabridge CTL, add music, Windows VSTs. And we're going to sync it. This will install everything which you need on Wine, and it's going to add a couple of new files which will make the VSTs work under Linux. Everything is essentially installed, so what we can do is run pvjack Ardour. Set to jack. I'm going to set 128 and connect to jack. And everything is installed here. I'm going to go under Edit Preferences, VSTs, and you're going to edit your Linux VST2 path and VST3 path. The plugins I added are only VST2s. So I'm just going to edit this, but it works the same for VST3s. And as you can see, they're both okay. So I'm going to add a track here. Let's say mono, add and close. And now I can start recording, and it's going to work well. Now what I can do is open up Mixer, add a plugin selector. I'm going to add NAD-IR. I don't want emissary. I really don't want to add a distortion right now in my voice. And insert plugins. As you can see, it's working. It's showing up. I'm missing some files here to actually make the plugin work, but it's on a per plugin basis. So if I were to add a virtual amplifier, it's just going to work out of the box. And as you can see the GUI, and it's here under plugins, but it's not in something like Carla. So you have to mess around with channels. It's just there. It just works essentially. So we're managing to run Ardour in the container, but you really don't want to open up terminal and then a container and yada 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 every time you want to run Ardour. So what you can do is you can go to the container and you can run the command distrobox export --app Ardour. So it's going to export Ardour as a .desktop file. But we're going to have to modify it a bit. So we're going to go to .local share applications on your base OS, on your host OS. and we're going to edit this container name dash ardour.st. So we're going to remove all the space here and then just add user bin pbjack space Ardour and then remove everything after that. And right now we should have Ardour 6 on Ardour test here. And it didn't connect for some reason. I have this thing sometimes. User bin pbjack, user bin Ardour. It looks okay. It just happens from time to time where the .desktop file doesn't work initially. Okay, yeah. It probably just hasn't updated yet. If I waited a couple more seconds, it probably would have ran. But yeah, it's running and you can just start it from your application menu. And you don't need to install anything essentially in your system except for DistroBox. And you can remove the container and remove the folder and you're done, you're clean. Also, which you can install is the QPV Graph Flatpak, which is essentially a Qt patch bay for Pipewire. So I'm going to run Flatpak install org on cbc QPV Graph. Awesome, it's there. So I can run QPV Graph. And while I'm there, I'm going to run Ardour. And you can see Ardour here on the patch bay, and you can connect stuff, and it's just going to work. It's a Flatpak, so it doesn't modify your normal system at all whatsoever. And that's about it for installing Ardour on Linux. Hope you had great success with this.